Muhammad Ali said, it's the repetition of affirmations that leads to a belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to fall into place. Hello, everyone. I'm back with yet another interesting tale from the common walks of our lives, especially for those who feel life's been unfair, it's difficult, it's tough. About Miss Ekta Bayan, who, with each and every milestone of her life, has been proving that if you have the will to make it big, nothing can stop you. Please welcome with me Miss Ekta Bayan, a para athlete, a woman from Haryana, an accident survivor, and a beacon of hope for anybody who wants to do something in this world, irrespective of their caste, color, ability, anything. Just if you have the will. Hello, Ekta. How have you been?
Hello, Nupur. I'm good. I'm doing well. How are you?
All well, all well. Thank you so much for your time and this opportunity to share your story through our channel. And I am sure through this episode, we would get an opportunity to uncover lots and lots of facets of your life and give the viewers so much to learn and get inspired from. So, without further conversation, I would say, or salutations, let's begin and dive directly into your story. So, Ekta, let's begin by getting to know you better. I am sure the viewers would love to understand who you are.
Okay, Nupur. I'm an Indian para-athlete and I'm playing two games, club throw and the discus throw, representing my country at international sports events. And also, I'm working as an employment officer. I'm born and brought up at Hisar, Haryana. So, this is a brief introduction of mine, and I'm equally excited to share my journey with you. Let's move ahead.
Perfect, perfect. So, Ekta, what I know from or I would say, whatever little I know about you is things weren't like this from the beginning. Um,
Yeah.
and due to an unfortunate event, eventually that took this turn. So I would request, if it's okay, would you like to share a bit about how or a bit about the that entire episode?
Yeah, sure. I'm having a disability known as quadriplegia, that is the complete paralysis of lower limbs and partial paralysis of upper limbs. I'm not born with disability. 17 years ago, I met with a road accident with a truck, and in that accident, I had spinal cord injury. And accident took place in a way like we were in the parking, and suddenly an overloaded truck of vegetables came and it lost its balance and it fell on our car. And when crane was called up and it tried to lift the truck up, it the chain broke again and the truck again fell on our car. So that was a very terrible accident, very severe. And in that accident I had spinal cord injury at cervical level. That means I broke my neck. And
Mm-hmm.
in there I would like to share something about spinal cord injury. It is the level where you get injured. Below that level you are paralyzed. Paralyzed means you don't have any sensation or mobility over your limbs. So in that accident, in I lost my mobility, my walking ability, and I'm a wheelchair user since then.
Um, if I may ask, because it's important to know, how soon were you able to get the medication required, or how soon was the aid available, Ekta? Uh, if you could just share a bit about that aspect as well.
Yeah. Uh, when I met with accident, it was raining that day, and it took long to reach ambulance to get the medical services there at that time. And most important thing, when someone met with a spinal cord injury, it is very important to treat them, to handle them with the right care.
Mm-hmm.
Like my neck was broke, so it was very important for me to lift me by holding my neck. But people were not aware. They were in their intentions were right. They want me to get out of that accident, to get me the medical services as soon as possible. They were not aware, and there was no other paramedical services. So they took me by holding my limbs, and there was no support to my neck. So of course that made a lot of damage to the already existing injury. So that was very important time. If people are treated at right time with the right care, the damage could be lessened. And apart
Mhm.
from that, my injury was very severe. I was admitted to the government hospital. Firstly, I was admitted to the government hospital at Delhi, and there doctors refused to treat me, as they said that the injury is very bad and there are very bleak chances of a survival and they can't operate me. So this was this, even we were unaware that what is spinal cord injury and what are its consequences. So
Mhm.
it was a very new thing for us. And we were moving, my parents were moving from one hospital to other hospital with with the reports. So it yes, there is lacking awareness about the spinal cord injury persons who met with the accident.
No, I can relate to that fact because I we keep on hearing about episodes that how important it is to be careful while you are helping someone because you never know you might just cause more harm
Damaging
in
more,
the
yeah.
process, right? So Ekta, as you mentioned that your parents were moving from one hospital to the other, uh, if I may ask, how long did it actually take? Like, were you able to get the medication day one, or did it eventually took you, or did your parents actually struggle to get you the right medication? Uh, so, if you would like to just share about that entire episode.
Yeah, absolutely. From the site of accident to the operation theater, everything mattered a lot. And in the government hospital, as we were refused to be operated on, so it took us 4 days to reach to the hospital known as Indian Spinal Injury Center. That is the hospital having specialization of treating the persons with spinal cord injury.
Mhm.
So there, I was transferred to that hospital on the fifth day after my accident, and those doctors told my parents that still I'm having bleak chances. My situation is very critical, but operation is very much required, and they can go for it. And they told my parents that there are hardly 3 to 4 chances of a survival, but it is the only option we are left with. So we went ahead, and uh, that surgeries went well, and then my rehab started on a positive note.
4 days, 4 days, if I heard it correctly. And
Yeah.
I can imagine the type of pain, anguish, fear for death, fear for your life, all those mixed emotions that would have been under, like your parents, your family, you yourself would have been undergoing. And I can just, I can just think, or I would say, I can just imagine what would have been the situation. So, if the why do like if it is possible, it would be helpful if you could just share that how did you react? How did your family react when you got to know about the severity of your disability or your injury? And for how long were you hospitalized?
Yeah, it was a very very tough time, and doctors didn't tell me that I am at the verge of death, but my parents were told, my family was told. So but they stood strong because they knew if they will remain strong, so I can be stronger to deal with the situation. In
Yeah.
that context, my parents has been a great support to me. And after admitting in Indian Spinal Injury Center, we came across many people who were going through the same injury, same phases. And I spent 9 months there. We
Mhm.
had occupational therapy, physiotherapy, we had peer counseling. And I saw many people there who were in the same state of mind, and they were doing good. They were excelling in their lives. So after getting in admitted in that hospital, we came to know that life is still possible on wheelchair. Though before my injury, I haven't seen anyone on wheelchair. I didn't have any idea what is the spinal cord injury is all about. And when I saw the people there, they motivated me, and the doctors were also quite optimistic. Ki,
Mhm.
with the right rehab, she can start her life on the wheelchair. So, right with the right approach, we started dealing with the things, and it was very tough. It not only in terms of physical disability, but it is also very difficult in terms of accepting the things mentally. And I was preparing for medical medical exams, and I had to shift. I have to change my stream. So it was not only about the physical disability. Yeah, this injury is multidimensional. Like, you lost your mobility, and you have to mentally very strong. It was financially very demanding, and you have to change your career. A vacuum of friends were there, and uh, like, mobility was very difficult after coming from the hospital. So lots of things were happening simultaneously.
No, I can totally imagine because 9 months, that's, I would say that I'm sure would have been one of the longest durations of your life and a really tough one, both for you and your family, because we can just imagine and we can just think of what a patient would undergo, and 9 months is not a small duration. So,
Mhm.
Ekta, why don't you share, especially for people who would be watching this episode today, that how did you manage undergoing all that mental turbulence, all that physical challenge that you were facing? What sort of medical help was available? Finally, I must say, and how that entire ecosystem, that entire environment helps you both physically and mentally to overcome and get out and move forward.
Yeah. Uh, Acceptance is a gradual process. It was not something like I woke up one day and yes, I am in a state of accepting everything, whatever has happened to me. It happened slowly. And the best thing, like, I started feeling ki I should not focus on the things which are lost. I
Mhm.
started focusing on the things that are still with me, uh, and those things can still make my life better. It is
Mhm.
not completely I'm helpless, that there cannot be any change in my circumstances. There were still so many things that I could do, and those things can really make a positive change in my life and in my family's life. So that approach, that focus on the things that are in our control, not that is lost or we cannot do anything about that.
Mhm.
Focusing on the things that are in our control, that made the real difference. And meeting the right people in that hospital, getting the right rehab, uh, getting all the things done at the right time. Like, I started my physio so I could started sitting. Initially I
Mhm.
couldn't sit more than 15 minutes, or I couldn't eat by myself. uh, Even I couldn't get scratch my head. So things took time, emotionally and physically also, and it started getting better.
Mhm.
And it was all a collective effort of the doctors team, physios team, my family, and uh, to some extent my efforts too. So it was all about the approach that whatever happened is happened. Life is not in our hands, and the living is in our hands. So let's live with the things we are left with, and surely that is enough to make the life better.
What a statement. I must say, life is not in our hands, but living it. And very well
Yeah.
said. It's so apt in your case. You've just said such a strong statement, yet with so much of ease that I can just marvel at that. So, Eka, life changed completely for you. It was like a total 360-degree change. So, tell us that how did you manage that? What were your thoughts when you came back to your home after those 9 months?
Yeah. When I was in the hospital, I was very desperate to come at home. It has been 9 months, and I was eagerly looking forward that I want to go to home. Uh, but when I came to home, the real challenge began. Like, uh, I was a completely different person. After coming back to home, I realized that I'm no more the same Ekta. When I went from Hisar for my coaching on that day on August 4, 2003, I was not the same person anymore. So after coming to home, I realized that there is completely changed life, because in hospital everything is adapted as per your needs. People understand your needs. So many people are like you who are moving around on the wheelchair. But after coming home, the real challenge began. In terms like I felt I'm a different Ekta, and people were coming to meet me, and they were making me realize that I'm a completely different person, and I'm a wheelchair user now. And it was very difficult in terms like the real challenge began after coming home. So uh, there were very different kind of perception people had towards me. uh, People used to see me like you are a burden now, you will be a burden on your family, and what if you won't be able to walk, and what if you, what will be your future. So very negative state of mind developed at that time after coming to home. But the best decision we decided at that time, we took at that time, was getting into the studies. I got admitted to the college, and I started studying. So it was the best thing we started after coming home, and it gave me a new direction to my life. I feeling that there's still something that I can do the same way that I used to do before my accident. And in the very first year I taught my college, that was a huge morale booster for me. Like my teachers were surprised. After that, they have also started motivating me. My parents also seeing a ray of hope in my life. And then I started feeling ki I have to do something for myself, that people are saying me that I'm a burden. I'm not a burden at all. I can be financially independent, and I still can do wonders.
Wow. That I think that's the sad part of our society, irrespective of the country we live in. Uh, More than positivity, people are there to share their negativity, and same was the case with you. Or I would say, same would be the case with anybody, right?
Yeah.
There are people who will be there to discourage you instead of boosting your morale. But well said and well mentioned, Ekta, because I totally agree with the fact that education is something that just makes everybody equal, irrespective of their caste, creed, color, background, ability, anything, right? Gender. It helps people like you and me come at par with the men around us. So I totally espouse and I totally agree with you that education can be one guiding force that can help us get out from any lurch, irrespective of
Yeah,
whatever
completely.
any
I completely agree.
any lurch in the life that we might face, and yeah, it can be the panacea for any and any challenge of ours. So
Yeah, even I find it very easiest way also. Like it is not only the way to make your life better, but it is also the easiest way to make your life better.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And I remember you mentioned about the fact that because of the accident, there was a vacuum of strength. There was a vacuum created because of your mobility, right? Your movement. So I'm sure once you restarted your education, right? Things would have been better because you had friends, you had your college teachers, and you had people around to interact and think about something other than just being or other than with regard to your disability, right?
Right.
So right now, I am really inspired, awed, and at the same time happy and excited all in once that I really can't express it on a serious note. Um, so would like to understand a bit about your professional thing because I'm aware that you're working as you mentioned, uh, and I'm sure it wouldn't have been an easy path.
Yeah, sure. Education is the best thing. Like it has given me a lot of confidence. It has given me a completely new direction, and it has opened a lot of opportunities for me that I was never knew about. And moreover, I started making friends, and I because it is only because of studies that I'm moving out of my home. Otherwise it was very difficult for me. Even I was hesitant, like moving around in the wheelchair, and I was not confident. But after joining the college, I became more confident about myself being on wheelchair, and teachers supported me, my friends supported me. So education was very was a biggest blessing, I would say. And after completing my masters, I was very sure that I have to get a job and I have to be financially independent. That was the only thought in my mind. And after completing my masters, I started preparing for competitive exams. And after many failures, I won't say that I got the job very easily. I faced a lot of failures in many competitive exams of center government, state government. And finally, in 2011, I got my first job. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a great moment for me and my family. And that was the job of an auditor with Haryana
Mm-hmm.
government. But I wanted to do something more. I want to achieve something more, and in that direction, I started preparing for Haryana Civil Services. And in 2003, I qualified that exam, and that exam completely changed image of mine in the society. People started looking at me with a different kind of uh, respect. I could feel that. So
Mm-hmm.
that qualifying that exam was a life changing moment for me. I would like to add, Nupa, like when I started studying after coming from the hospital. So my parents got me enrolled in the college, and I started going college. People used to say to my parents, "What is the hurry to get her into the college? Where you could wait for some time, let her start walking." But we knew that I won't be able to walk. But people like completely disagreeing to this point that being on the wheelchair, why are we in a hurry to get into the studies? And जब मैंने टॉप भी किया कॉलेज, then they used to say, so what's the point even if she has topped the college, she's a disabled girl. So people's perception is always having both plus and minus. Like there were many people who were very encouraging, but also there were few people who underestimated me at every point. Like when I got a job, even at that time they said, okay, if she would be walking, so she could do more, better than that, underestimating the existing achievements. So it is like you have to be very careful in absorbing the vibes of the people around you.
So, Ekta, let's come to the interesting thing. Lots we've already spoken about a lot of sad and negative stuff. So, uh, you were a nerd because I'm sure if you were planning to be a if you were a medical aspirant, you would have been a nerd. Then you just mentioned that you talked in your college also, so you were definitely a nerd. So, what
Right.
made you change and get into what made you even get into sports altogether? That's like totally different. So, I can imagine from being a medical aspirant to getting into a college degree and then getting into a job, but then how does sports came into the picture?
um, my accident was very unpredictable. In the same way, my sports journey is very unpredictable. I could never imagine myself that I would be a sports person, especially like after becoming a disabled. Nobody could ever imagine that I can be a sports person. Uh, I have shared my journey that was completely uh, full of uncertainties. In the same way, sports happened. When my exam was qualified, one of my interviews was circulated on the social media, and somehow it reached to my present coach Amit Saroha. And uh, he contacted me through a common friend of ours, and he's also from Hisar, our
Mm-hmm.
common friend. So he knew about my disability, and he himself is a para athlete. So he contacted me and asked me if I'm willing to join sports. So मुझे भी लगा बहुत पढ़ाई हो गया. There is a new opportunity for me. Let's explore something new. और I started with a motive like becoming healthier, more fit in terms of my carrying out. I thought it would be beneficial for me, like I will be more healthier in carrying out my day to day activities. And let's explore something new. My father's favorite quote is, let's give it a try. Whenever we explore something new, it happened at the time of when I joined my studies also. I was very unsure ki how would I be able to continue with my studies in this disability. That time too he said ki let's give it a try. And when I started my sports, he again said let's give it a try. you are financially stable, you are having your job, there's nothing to you are risking. So I
Mm.
thought, let's give it a try. And in 2016, I played my first national, and I won a gold and a bronze medal there. So then I realized that I can do better in sports field too, and let's give it a right direction and focus. So after that, there
Mm.
was no looking back.
Wow. From being a bookworm to doing professionally great, I would say, uh, to then moving into the world of athletics, that's an incredible journey altogether. And I'm sure that journey of transforming into a sportsman, even though you had that ulterior motive of getting fitter, getting more independent in terms of carrying out your day-to-day activities, it would have
Yeah.
been a roller coaster ride. So why don't you share something about how did you transition from being Ekta, who is trying to manage work, home, a little bit of exercises, to Ekta, who is now planning to get into full-fledged sports. And also, I'm sure it would have been demanding because you are still working, right? So, why don't you tell us something about that balance that you've struck?
Yeah, initially it was difficult because I'm into a job from 9 to 5, and uh, practicing in the evening time, and disability also has its challenges. And uh, when I used to study, it was a very simple task. Like, I got my books and I could study for hours. But after getting into sports, I need assistance while exercising, while going to ground. So sports was a completely different picture for me. In terms of studies, I could study for hours without any help, but while exercising and while going to ground, I need assistance. So uh, in this context, my family supported me a lot, and
Mhm.
they have been with me. Like, I need 2 to 3 persons while exercising. So with their support, I started managing the things, and I started mastering the act of balancing. And after winning few medals, my department has also started encouraging me a lot. So initially it was like difficult, but with passage of time, I mastered this act
Wow. No, no,
of
I
balancing.
agree with the fact that you need a strong family support, and at the same time, since you're working, you need your colleagues and your department to be supportive because
Yeah,
getting into sports is equally demanding, and
yeah, it is
uh,
also a team effort.
it is definitely a team effort. That's the best
Yeah.
way to put it across. So what's your routine, Eka? Like, if I have to ask that, typically, how do you begin your day and how do you exit it?
During this pandemic, or in the
Overall,
routine?
overall. Actually, I
uh,
would know about the pandemic also, but maybe help me understand that what was your routine initially, and then we will definitely come on the pandemic for sure.
yeah. Initially, before this pandemic, I go to office at in the morning, and around 4 to 5 I came back to my home, and after resting for some time, I go to the ground. But after
Mhm.
the pandemic, the things are completely different. I have not been to my ground since 9 months, and I'm
Okay.
missing it badly. But I have settled lots of equipments at my home. My home gym is there, so I'm exercising at my home only. Because being a spinal cord injured person, I am among the high risk group, because due to spinal cord injury, I am having impaired respiratory system. I'm extra careful. I have to be extra careful this in this situation.
Mhm.
So routine, currently routine is like I'm working from home, and I'm exercising morning and evening twice a day,
Mhm.
6 days a week. So
Mhm.
I haven't skipped my training schedule a single day, even after the pandemic. And now I am habitual, except my ground. I'm doing all good. I am happy with this, but I'm missing my ground.
That's a nice to hear, Ekta, because I would say that people like me also keep on procrastinating things here and now. And in your case, while you had a tough regime prior to the pandemic, during the
You won't
pandemic,
miss your schedule even for a single time if you will be playing your sports professionally.
oh, okay. So that says it all. I'm nowhere near sports by miles. I should say that way.
And when you see your Paralympics are just 7 months uh, uh, far from you, so you have to be very carefully spending your every second.
No,
You have to be very
I agree. I agree. I
cautious.
agree.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that next year, with your plans to visit, or I would say your plans to represent India at the Tokyo Para Olympics, it is important for you to maintain that review, right? And keep
Yeah.
on giving every possible effort that you can. So, tell us something about your achievements, Ekta. I know there are quite a few in that club pro category. And what are your future plans?
I have won 6 medals at the international sports events and 6 at the national sports events. And
Yeah.
in 2019, we had World Championship, and I won quota there for the upcoming Tokyo Paralympics. So I have qualified for Tokyo, and in August 2021, we will be representing our country. We para athletes will be representing at Tokyo Paralympics. So this is the goal we are looking forward now.
Take a while. I would love this conversation to go on and on. Unfortunately, we are coming to the end of this entire chapter. So why don't you take a moment, or if there is anything that you would like to share with our viewers today through this platform, we would love to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, of course, I would like to ask everyone here, and I would request to everyone here that um, disabled persons or the persons with disability are still not in the mainstream in our society. They are still lagging behind in education, they are still lagging behind in employment. Most of them are dependent on their families. Like there is still 45% is literacy rate among the disabled person, and that is a big figure, big number. In the same way, like only 30% of them are into the regular jobs. So the situation is like they are lagging behind. It is very important for everyone to get the right opportunities and equal opportunities for everyone. So I would like that there is no disabled person in our society that should be illiterate or should be dependent for the rest of their lives. And the beginning will be from the right assistive devices. Assistive devices are the like wheelchairs, power wheelchairs, or the manual wheelchairs, or uh, hearing aid, artificial limbs. There are many kind of assistive devices that can make disabled persons life better and independent also. And if there is accessible infrastructure also in our society, like accessible transportation or accessible buildings, education institutes, or the workplace, if everything is wheelchair accessible or the accessible to the disabled persons, there
Mhm.
is nothing that they cannot do, or there is nothing that they cannot achieve. So if there is no infrastructure barrier, and there are equal opportunities for them, and they are provided with the right assistive devices, they can also live their lives to the fullest. So it is also a duty of every one, like if you are visiting at a public place, you should
Mhm.
also ask for the ramp, for the lifts. It is not only about the disabled persons that will get benefit, it is also like our aging parents, grandparents, or anyone can get benefit from them.
I
So
agree.
it is everybody's responsible to ask for the infrastructure that is accessible to everyone in our society.
Thanks, Ekta. Thanks for those words, because I think that it's really important to create that awareness and let people know how we can just make the world a better place to live in, right? Be it infrastructure wise, be it from the perspective of our thought process or our behavior
Yeah,
towards.
here I want to add the mental barriers also are also there. Like most of the people don't expect disabled persons at to be the public places, or
Yeah.
at the parks or the theaters or malls. So that is also a mental barrier, that they also have the right to do the things of their interests. They should not be restricted at homes only. It is equally important for them to come out. And most of them have realized after this pandemic that how difficult it is to stay at home. and millions of disabled persons are facing this situation from ages. So it is very important for every human being to be outgoing, to be independent, to live a quality life. And that is possible with collective effort, with the teamwork, with participation of everyone.
I agree, and I would say that we all just need that little gentle push and support from everybody around us.
Yeah,
Because as you called out, these are some of the challenges that if we take into consideration, things would be better for everybody, be it infrastructure, be it education, be it availability of right medical equipment, right tools, and so much is possible, right? But most important of all is having the right mental attitude, the right mindset of people around us. Because I don't think you mentioned something that is a new concept, I would say, or something out of the blue. We all have been taught from childhood to be more respectful, to be
yeah, more
understanding,
sensitive.
sensitive, right? Be more understanding, sensitive, and treat everybody with dignity. So, from your story, one thing that definitely comes out beautifully, loud and clear, Ita, is that it's all about motivation, uh, whether it is from a few people, from maybe 1 to 10, 20, it doesn't matter. Even if you have one person supporting your cause or one person having faith in you, anybody can do miracles. And
Right.
it's all about those encouraging words in those distressful times or in those unfortunate times. And that belief that no, you have a future to look forward to.
Yeah, words can really make wonders.
I totally agree.
Words of appreciation, words of encouragement, they can really do wonders.
And it applies everywhere, right? It's not
Yeah.
specific to a sports arena or corporate. It's applicable to our day-to-day life as well. So with this, Ekta, I would like to say thanks. Thanks for sharing your beautiful story, your difficult yet inspiring journey with us. And I hope everybody today, whoever is viewing this chapter of your life through us, gets something to learn or take away from this journey that you have embarked on and you are successfully leading. So thank you, Ekta, once again. I wish you all the best for the upcoming Tokyo Para Olympics. I'm sure you would bring in more laurels for us, for the country. And I would love to have another conversation with you once you're back from Tokyo. Thank
Yeah,
you once.
sure. Thanks a lot, Nupur. Thanks a lot for having me here. And lots of thanks for your wishes too.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye.